Play one more verse. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation. This is a come as you are congregation. No matter who you are, what your faith, who you love, you are welcome here. My name is Kathy Hartman, and I serve as one of your worship associates. We need a little more volume. My name is Kathy Hartman, and I serve as one of your worship associates, and assisting me today are Orrell and Debbie Gentry. And on piano, we have pieplow. I don't know if you've all met our new accompanist, but thank you. I want to extend a special welcome to first or second time visitors. We would love to keep in touch with you, so sign in at the back table and we will send you communications about various things going on. We acknowledge that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. The Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation fosters a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving search for truth and meaning. A few announcements. All of this information is on the website, on the calendar, in the email blast. Person next to you probably knows it all too, so just feel free to ask questions and you can find out what's going on. This week on Thursday at 7:30, Reverend Dana, along with Ryan on piano, will hold a holiday healing service. Sometimes in all the hustle and bustle and jocularity of the holidays, some people aren't necessarily feeling so joyous and have other things. And so this is a time of contemplation. It's a really wonderful service, and if you get a chance to be here on Thursday evening, I'd highly recommend it. On Friday, December 1st, this coming Friday, from 4 to 7, Namakwa has our monthly commitment at the community kitchen. We're going to be passing around some clipboards. If you have the opportunity to help, please sign up, and Sue will contact you, or talk to Sue afterwards. Next Sunday at 10 a.m., we have a guest minister, Reverend Terry Schwartz, and she will do a service on the grammar of inclusion. Join us after the service for coffee hour. And I want to thank everybody who is here today and also everybody who's helping with the service. Some people filled in at the last minute, and we really appreciate you all doing that. Thanks for being here in the snow. Herb.
Generosity is a story that lives inside each of us, a constantly unfolding, ever-changing story that spans our entire lifetime. The story begins when we're very young, sitting by ourselves unwrapping our favorite candy bar, when suddenly we hear a voice. Can I have some, please? There in that moment, we have to answer a very difficult question, a very disruptive question. How much of our candy are we willing to share? We don't realize it at the time, but that's a question we will have to answer over and over again for the rest of our lives. So we try to make rules about generosity, about how much of our candy we're willing to share. But just when we think we have it figured out, we come face to face with a new opportunity to share. But when we take our generosity rules out to help us figure out what we're supposed to do, we can discover that our generosity rules haven't aged so well. So the story of generosity in your life and in my life is a story of disruption. But along the road to becoming our best selves, is it not the moments of disruption where the most growth comes from? This morning, we will hear amazing stories of generosity from people in our own community. As these stories unfold, allow yourself, if you will, to feel deeply. Allow yourself to think deeply. Allow yourself to care deeply, and let the stories take you where they want to take you. Allow yourself to be disrupted, because maybe, just maybe, somewhere inside of you, a brand new generosity story is about to unfold.
Congregational Affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Let's use that spirit of love and greet the folks around you and see how they came down the mountain from Estes Park, for one thing.
Morning, Vic. Good to see you. Hi, Leo.
Hi, have I met you? I'm sorry, have I met you before?
Okay.
I'm Kathy.
On a weekday?
Well, you're back from Croatia.
Oh, yeah, I met you
had a
one time
wonderful
over in
Okay, good.
in the Parker home. Welcome, thank you for coming back.
Wonderful. Relatives back there? You have relatives back there? That's a big thing.
You made it back okay. Great. Uh-oh.
Up this morning, but today we have a story for grown-ups, and children will have a wonderful story for you next week, so I hope you come next week and see us. This story is called The Moon Cannot Be Stolen, a Zen story. Joe Kwan, a Zen master, lived a simple life in a little hut at the foot of a mountain. One evening, a thief came to the hut, only to discover there was nothing to steal. When Joe Kwan caught the thief, he said, "You may have come a long way to visit me. You should not return empty-handed. Please take my clothing as a gift." The thief was bewildered, but he took the clothes and slunk away. Joe Kwan sat naked, watching the moon, and thought, "Poor fellow, I wish I could give him this beautiful moon."
morning. The Chalice of Our Being by Reverend Richard S. Gilbert. Each morning we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and give back. Dag Hammarskjöld. Each morning we must hold out the chalice of our being to be filled with the graces of love and life that abound, air to breathe, food to eat, companions to love, beauty to behold, art to cherish, causes to serve. They come in ritual procession, these gifts of life. Whether we deserve them, we cannot know or say, for they are poured out for us. Our task is to hold steady the chalice of our being. We carry the chalice with us as we go, either meandering aimlessly or with destination in our eyes. We share its abundance if we have any senses, reminding others as we remind ourselves of the contents of the chalice we don't deserve. Water from living streams fills it, if only we hold it out faithfully. We give back, if we can, something of ourselves, some love, some beauty, some grace, some gift. We give back in gratitude if we can, something like what is poured into our chalice of being for those who abide with us and will follow. Each morning, we hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, to give back. The chalice is lit. Oh, you've already done that.
Generosity, and the first one comes from Rebecca.
Okay, I just want to say in gratitude, and if you didn't notice it when you came in, you know, our fundraiser for giving in gratitude, we went for of $20,000, and I hope you noticed that we made $36,000, and so grateful. And please give yourself hugs and kisses from that basket back there.
They were generous with their love, their time, and their money from the day of my birth until the date of their death.
This person writes, my dear Zimbabwean friend of 30 years enjoys an annual Christmas brunch with 9 or 10 of her colleagues. They usually choose a chain-type restaurant in Fort Collins or Loveland with sit-down service. They ask for one check because they prepared an envelope for the server with a tip made up of monthly contributions of an average amount each would spend on a lunch. The envelope usually contains between $1,000 and $2,000. Talk about a secret Santa. In the years they've been doing this, the money has gone to pay for another semester of college, creating a real Christmas for families' kids, traveling to see family members who have health issues, tears and shock, laughter and grateful hugs all around.
When I was a young mother, my kids were enrolled in a reading program at school where they earned a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut for reading so many books at home. The day came when they had all achieved their goals, and we went across town to pick up their pizzas. When we got to the front of the line, I reached into my purse to find I hadn't brought their reading logs. It had been one of those days, and I nearly started to cry with frustration. The kind manager said, no worries. He trusted that the kids had earned their pizzas, and he was kindness itself to all of us. I will never forget my gratitude in that moment for his good heart. It made our pizza party very special indeed.
I was on my way to a bluegrass festival in Lyons back in 1999, a time before cell phones. My husband was already at the festival. I was coming down later after work. I stopped at a gas station on Highway 402. I drove to Lyons, parked, and gathered my things, only to realize I didn't have my wallet, which contained my festival ticket. I went to the gate, explained things, and was able to talk to my husband. After I told him I drove back to Loveland, my wallet was not at the gas station. I went home to see if there was a phone call. Lo and behold, somebody had tracked me down. I had apparently put the wallet on top of my car, and it blew off at the intersection of Taft and 402. This person stopped in the middle of the intersection, picked everything up, including the precious ticket. She apologized that she might not have gotten all of my coupons, and she would take no reward for the return.
Marcia Lewis sends this story. John and I are now down at Roadhaven Resort in Apache Junction, Arizona. Many of the snowbirds are here to enjoy golf, tennis, and shuffleboard, but I have discovered there are others here who are generous with their time recycling plastic bags to create mats for the homeless. We have looms where we can make 6 by 3 foot mats that can be used as sleeping pads or water-resistant covers for cardboard box beds. Plastic bags are still free at local stores, so plenty of bags can be cut, tied, and woven together. But even plastic wrapping from large packages of paper towels can be used, and small pieces can be stuffing for a pillow. Volunteers also collect blankets that can be sewn into sleeping bags and toiletries that can be given to neighbors who happen to be homeless. I appreciate this creative way to recycle and also be generous.
Years ago, on the same day I quit my job, my then husband was laid off from his. We quipped that night with our friends, owners of the Palestinian restaurant down the street, that we were destitute, and soon we would be homeless and hungry. Quite seriously, they said, never. As long as we are here, we will take care of you. They went on to explain a Muslim principle of generosity, which is offering food and shelter to anyone who asks for at least 3 days, no questions asked. Generosity to others is a gift from God. I've been the recipient of Muslim generosity many times over. On a cargo boat sailing from Madagascar to the Comoros Islands, when a young Muslim fellow named Hussein bought me food for 2 days while our boat was stranded and I had no money. In post-Civil War Mozambique, struggling to hitchhike, unsure of which roads were landmine free, I fought to find food and a common language. Then a Muslim man nicknamed Gandhi adopted us on his way to his brother's wedding. He put us up in a hotel for free and invited us to the wedding feasts and the ceremony too. Lonely in Morocco or struggling to navigate the local customs or language, inevitably dear Lubna, Saad, Yasin, or Abdullah, I can't say that one, my Muslim friends would appear just at the right time to pick up my messy pieces and often to feed me. I've received far more than my share, my 3 days of generosity. Those lifelines given by the gentle generosity of Muslim people around the world have saved me. For them, generosity is a reflex, not a choice. A reflex, not a choice. Theirs is a faith where kindness can surface effortlessly above all, where generosity is holy.
A man was in the habit of visiting vintage shops, finding old photographs, and if there were enough names on the back of some of them, he would use his skills to figure out which family and surviving relatives might be portrayed. Then he would find them and ask if they were interested in the photo. The recipients were usually glad to receive this family connection, and in many cases were overjoyed to have an image of a beloved relative from their childhood for whom they had no pictures.
About 30 years ago, I connected with a Native American spiritual teacher, Grandmother Twyla Nitsch. She taught about our symbiotic relationship with all of creation, trees, rocks, flowers, fish, four-legged animals. She and her granddaughter found ways to help the members of the dominant culture to love and respect all living things. Hers could be a complicated message, but it could be summarized in one word: gratitude. We forget sometimes, We take things for granted sometimes. But if you are a member or a friend of this congregation, you will be perpetually reminded of the symbiotic relationship. And when you hit a rough patch on your personal road, people from this congregation will step up, reach out, and help you. And if you have forgotten the importance of gratitude, its significance and reality will sweep over you and help you carry on and perhaps even triumph. Shazam.
Each week you support the work of this congregation in all the ways that we live our values in the world through your own generosity. In addition to supporting this church, 1/2 of your donations support a local nonprofit that is working to help make a difference beyond our walls. Today and through December, our donations will literally help to build some walls as we are giving to Loveland Habitat for Humanity. Their website is jam-packed with statistics and stories. In 2021, Habitat built 7 homes for 8 adults and 11 children. Since they started in 1987, they have built 158 homes in Loveland and helped families to pay off 29 mortgages. 90% of families experience a safer neighborhood than their previous home. 2/3 expect their children to earn a college degree. Please give generously while we listen to Slip. I saw big smiles on your face.
Wait for it.
That's Thank you all for your wonderful generosity. Now is the time when we come together to share with each other some personal joys and sorrows that we have. And so if you would like to come forward and share a joy, we've got a microphone handy and or a sorrow, and we can be with you in that place. And Tam, up there in the Zoom booth, just has 2 words. Well, first, joy, spandex pants. Okay. Does anyone else want to come forward and share with us something going on? Robin?
So I'm Robin, and I wanted to say thank you because I was sick that day, and I have both kind of a problem and a solution, and this church is part of the solution. So in our world, we have all this crazy stuff going on, and I watch too much news sometimes, and I get very out of sorts. And it's part of why I'm so grateful to come into a room of music and calmness and intelligence and reason and compassion. And we had these things going on in our nation this week with like kidney punches and stuff, just crazy. I like coming in here where we cope instead of doing kidney punches. And there's a game I found in a prayer group. They do international prayer, and there's a game, and they're audacious like us here sometimes. We're both audacious and calm in Unitarian Church, aren't we? But they have the audacity to pray for world peace by 2030. And I know it seems so silly, like who would pray for that? But there's a prayer group and there's a game, and I'm joining this quest with it that's kind of a metaphysical quest, and I need other people to join. I need a team, so join it. It's worldpeace.org, monthly prayer circles on peace, and then a game as well. Coping, not kidding.
Thank you, Robin, for bringing us that peaceful solution. Anyone else that would like to come forward? Well, we have lots more to talk about, so we'll just keep all those joys and sorrows that you have on, oh, Zoom, I forgot Zoom. What do we have up there?
So Karen on Zoom says, Ed and I will be celebrating our 36th wedding anniversary on Wednesday, and she's turning 75 on Saturday. Yikes!
Here's to anniversaries and continued youth. We're with you.
And Nancy Amsler, Nancy Amsler says, the medicine for cystic fibrosis that my daughter has been on for the last 3 years has been a complete game changer. And that's all. Thank you.
We are with you in health and healing. Anything else up there? Okay, all righty. On your program is Kat doing a meditation, but she's got a bit of a cold, so thank you, Dick.
Don't ask me what I'm doing, I just found out. I was handed a piece of paper, and it basically is helping you do meditation. So we're going to do a little meditation now. First off, get comfortable in your seat. Comfortable? Okay. Feel your feet on the earth, your spine supporting you, your hands resting on your knees. Soften the gaze downward or close your eyes. Begin to deepen the breath. In a moment, we'll take 3 of the deepest breaths we've taken all day. Each time we inhale, I invite you to call in an image or energy of generosity. And each time we exhale, we'll share our gratitude. Begin by inviting images of all the generosity you have experienced in your life. Breathe in, hold, see the faces, places, and people. Feel the experience of generosity. Exhale. Next, notice the generosity of life in this moment. Breathe in, hold, feel the air in your lungs, the generous support of community around you. And with gratitude, let it go. With this final breath, let us envision a generous future, a world of freely giving and receiving all that we need. Breathe in, hold, Feel the light of this future as hope surrounds us. And give thanks as we release. As we come back in the room, notice if there are any sensations, any shifts in the body. Maybe invite a little smile in the corners of the mouth. When you're ready, flutter open the eyes.
I learned generosity from my dad, and part of it was a self-preservation strategy. My mom was not a happy person, but my dad overflowed with happiness and gave generously. He was a real people person, but during the week he worked on construction equipment on his job, driving big, noisy bulldozers and cranes and graders, where he spent a lot of time alone. On Saturdays, he retreated to his shop, opened the big door, and welcomed friends and neighbors who needed something welded. We lived in farm country, so there was an endless supply of fixes needed. It was kind of a party. He never wanted money, so they brought homegrown meat from their freezer, a six-pack of beer, some welding supplies, something. My mother fumed and resented the time and lost income, but my dad received so much in return that the consequence was tolerable. Generosity is such a big subject and much has been written. I guess that's why we received so few stories from you. Well, I did receive 3 yesterday, after the deadline, but in under the wire. I know it's the holiday and we're all busy, but I know this congregation to be an incredibly generous bunch, and I know you have tales to tell. The next set of stories was set in motion by someone's 80th birthday. 5 years ago, I read about an 80-year-old who gave 80 people $80 each and asked them to pass it on. The only requirement was to send her a story about the experience. In 2020, in the midst of a pandemic and recovering from knee replacement, I had my 70th birthday. I realized I could save a bunch of money if I did this on my 70th instead of my 80th birthday. And I had just gotten a little windfall. Over the next 2 years, I received stories in the mail. I had given everyone a colorful postcard, stamped self-addressed postcard. Going to the mailbox was a treat. I'd always intended to compile the stories and let people know how it all went, but you know how that goes. So we've got a few for you now, and some of you will recognize your own story.
At this very moment, there is a woman in the H&S parking lot going, "What just happened?" A $70 King Soopers gift card is what happened, and I decided to pay it forward by donating $70 to the Loveland Utility Fund for people in distress.
A friend's grandson was just getting his music studio set up when it was flooded during Hurricane Ida. He lost everything. He is 28 and has a master's degree in music and is trying to make his living with his passion. I thought of Dave's love for music, and the gift went to this young man.
We did a road trip in New Mexico and Arizona to Native American historical and cultural sites. We noted a few themes: great pride in their indigenous heritage, strong ties to the land and family across generations, acknowledgement of the devastating effects of U.S. extermination policies, and lack of opportunity to prosper on the homelands. We recognize the chance to support the resiliency of these peoples by contributing your gift, which we matched to Lakota-based Red Cloud Renewable. We were impressed with their solar training program for young tribe members and the emphasis on sustainable housing and land use with the next 7 generations in mind.
After weeks of careful consideration about who needed a little boost, and I will tell you that was a theme that ran through this, is that many people had a really hard time deciding what to do with that money, and they kept it for a long time, which was fine, but they really labored over the decision. The answer came to us in the form of an emergency. The massive Cameron Peak fire is only 5 miles away. It has affected so many of us in the mountains and west of Loveland. The obvious need was food and water for our firefighters. We went shopping and delivered to the front lines food, water, Gatorade, fruit, and snacks.
I was working at the community kitchen with a friend. She was in a low spot, so I handed the money over to her. She was really appreciative, and then I also took her family a casserole last week. We also matched your donation with gifts to Community Kitchen and Alternatives to Violence.
And I knew immediately what to do. My friend in New Orleans went in to have her gallbladder removed, and they discovered a tiny cancerous tumor on her pancreas. She's been unable to work since then with treatment and all. She can't afford to retire completely. This helped, along with my contribution, and she is so thankful.
REI, I bought a sleeping bag from their garage sale area, and I donated it to the Men's Emergency Shelter location of St. Elizabeth Shelter in Santa Fe.
I have given away your birthday present, mostly to folks standing at intersections with homeless and hungry signs, some to a lovely man who stands outside our Trader Joe's and sells the Street Chronicle. It was fun, but I need more. When is your next birthday?
Well, here's the last of these gift stories, and there's so many more. The $70 went to my daughter, Catherine. She moved in with her sister who has cerebral palsy and lives in a wheelchair after she left the person she had been living with for more than 10 years. I was really glad she left that guy, but moving into her new situation with her 2 rescue dogs had to be a big letdown. And then COVID made that arrangement even more confusing and hurt her income. But she is tough, and best I can tell, she manages that whole operation amazingly well and with grace. Over the last 6 months, both of her dogs got sick and passed away, leaving her with some huge vet bills. I haven't been able to help as much as I'd like, and even when I try, she resists. So I sent your $70 along with the card explaining it, and she was able to accept it and was really grateful.
Please rise.
Gratitude for Nature's Generosity by Vicki Clark. Oh, thank you, giant star we call the sun, for lavish doses of warmth, for sustaining life on planet Earth. Gracias for your unselfish participation in the dance of photosynthesis, When sunspots multiply, causing solar flares and even collisions in our upper atmosphere. Humorous earthlings, as we scamper here and there for glimpses of the colorful results we call northern lights. Thank you, dear moon, for your generous array of geometric configurations. Everything from perceived tiny crescent shapes to outrageous orange balls at harvest time. And for your part in the rising and receding ocean tides. Thank you, celestial being, for the myriad songs and stories you have inspired over time. Deep gratitude, O lakes, rivers, and streams, oceans, waterfalls, and other liquid forms. Lucky are all who encounter mystical reflections on your surfaces. Fortunate are we to roam among abundant flora and fauna, to wander through wooded paths, meander hillsides, and climb mountains, to explore the seas with a multitude of mysteries, creatures, and colorful gardens, to gaze upon the winged ones, marveling at their infinite variety of squawks and melodies, to catch snowflakes on our tongue, imagining each unique shape, to appreciate the aroma of new mown hay and freshly plowed earth, to exclaim, a rainbow, when sun and rain mingle perfectly in vast skies. Thank you, diverse seasons, for showering your bountiful gifts upon us.
May our expressions of gratitude for nature's generosity eternally resound.